What's going on, everybody? Back in the shop today. I thought I'd make a quick video on a kind of common issue that you're going to see. Specifically, we're looking at a 2010 Honda CRV. This would apply to like 2007 to 11 CRVs. They're all like the same. But essentially, what we got going on is the customer said that the AC blows cold, that the air's fine, and they can adjust the blower and it'll work, faster or slower. But they, no matter what setting they put it on, what mode they put it on, it just never changes the vents that it's coming out of. So in this person's case, it's stuck on the floor vents. So with these ones, like I said, it's kind of a common issue. We'll get into it. I'll show you where, to look for this. But this would apply to any that are, whether it's the dash vents aren't working, whether it's, the floor vents, any combination. It's not just, it's stuck on, like this customer, it's stuck on the floor vents. It basically is just for any time you're stuck on one setting and it's not, changing. It's not going to the other ones when you're, selecting them. So in this case, on these Hondas, pretty common issue. So I already know what to look for here. But I'll show you guys what it is, how to get to it and replace it. And then that way, if you guys are having issues with this guy right here, this is the part, you'll be able to fix it. So let's get to it. All right, first things first, everybody's disgusting as hell. But we're on the passenger side. This shield clips into place up underneath, so pull that down. I'm gonna get that out of the way. Now the glove box has to come out. So you open the glove box. On these, there's a little rod here that clips in. Just push that forward, disengage it. And then you want to push in on the sides of the glove box. Pinch it, kind of get those little stoppers past the edge. And then should be able to just kind of get this guy out of here. So with the glove box folded down, you can kind of see there is a hinge here and here. We got to fold it up and kind of go from the underneath. There's two little bolts or screws. I believe they're like 8mm ones. And then we can take this whole assembly out. And then what we have to get in here to do is remove this vent duct work here. This couple little screws in here, those will have to pop out as well. And there's another one right here. All right, so we've got a screw here. We've got one up here. And then we can move this wiring out of the way, and then see, I think that's the only ones, but we'll move that out of the way and gain access to our actuator, which is tucked right up behind it there. Then we're going to take out this 10mm head bolt here, kind of free this up, undo the wiring clips up here that are attaching it, just kind of pull those free, and then you should be able to kind of just work this guy down and around the wiring here. Then on the back side of this, there's still a wire attached back here. It's just a little push clip. You just pop that out. But now you can push it out of the way too if you think you got enough room. But basically now you have access to the air door mode actuator. And now that we have access to it, I'll leave it plugged in just so we can see what it's doing when we try to switch, through the different modes and see, what is happening. So right now, we You can hear the blower. The blower's obviously working fine. You know, we changed the speed. It goes with it. But now, if we change the mode, if we watch that actuator up there. See, it's not moving. Nothing's happening. So all these times I'm pushing the button, trying to get it to switch into these different modes, absolutely nothing's happening. So that confirms that we have an issue at this mode actuator. So now we can do, this is the actuator up here. This is the connector for it. So just squeeze that tab, pop that guy out of there. And then there's a couple more of these small, looks like the 7mm heads, or maybe 8mm heads. I'll have to see. There's 2 on the bottom, and then it looks like there's 1 up on the top. So we'll pop those out and we'll get this guy out of here and see what's going on. All right, those 3 7mm bolts are removed. Now we can take out this actuator piece here. Just pops right off. And this is our old one. You can see this one may be the original, may be an aftermarket, not totally sure, probably the original. But these do tend to go bad on this generation CRV. Essentially, there's 2 different channels that, you know, when power is sent to it, it will turn this. You'll see it rotate when we put the new one in, and it'll ride on those guys in there, and just kind of, you know, based on what you're selecting, one will go one way and it'll move these doors and stuff to redirect the airflow. So what we basically have is a non-responsive one that's just, it's just not moving anything. So the actuator is just probably dead on this one, and it's not going to move those arms at all anymore. And that's why we got a stuck situation where it's only blowing on the floor vent. It could be stuck on any of them. It could be stuck on the floor, the defrost, the front vents. But anytime you got ones that are stuck, this is generally why. And you can see here is our old one, and this is our nice new part from Honda. So put a little grease on these tracks just to keep everything moving freely, but you can see they're pretty much identical. If you buy aftermarket ones, which I had a hard time finding, I mean, you can probably find them on Amazon or something, but for the sake of this customer, you know, we bought it from Honda. This is the part number. If you do want to buy it from Honda, this is the OEM part from Honda. I think it costs about $165. Like I said, I'm sure you could find cheaper ones online, but time constraints and not wanting to deal with the possibility of lousy aftermarket parts on a customer car, we're going with reliable OEM. Always say to use it when you can. But you can see right here, these guys look about the same. If you do buy an aftermarket one, sometimes it doesn't come with this big blue plastic piece. You'll have to release this tab and pop it off, or you also might have to do that just to remove this bracket, which has a couple of screws on it, because I think aftermarket you can probably just buy this black box and then switch everything over, because that's, the black box is really what you need. But we'll get this thing ready to go. We'll put it back, reverse installation, put those bolts back in, make sure that the pins lined up and all that good stuff. So when we go to throw this back together, everything is working as it's supposed to. And we'll see if this takes care of her issue. Now, just to test before we actually put it back into the car, I'm just going to leave it hanging out here for a second. I plugged it back in. We're going to turn the key on and see if this reacts at all to the change in mode that we have set up here. So let's see. If we switch mode, we have movement. So now that is for the windshield and floor setting, floor and front vent setting, front vent setting, and then back to floor and vent setting. So this actuator is working, doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So now we just got to get it back in place, where those arms are to correspond with these grooves here. And then just make sure that that pin is lining up in these, and that way everything's, clocked the right way. So that way when you're putting it on, front vent, it's going to front vent, and floor vent's going to floor vent, and on and on and on. All right, so now I have the new actuator installed. I just have the 3 bolts in kind of loose, so it's not in all the way per se, but I just want to be able to test and make sure that when I'm selecting these different modes, it is actually moving to the correct one. So right now it's on, looks like just floor. So we're gonna hit that mode button. All right, so now we should have floor and front vents. And it does feel like we have air coming out of the front vents. So I'll go through the rest of the modes, but basically that's what we wanted to see. Obviously last time when we had the old one in there, as soon as you hit it, nothing changed, nothing happened. So the fact that it moves at all, well, that means we're, pretty solidified on this repair. So now that this is installed, we'll just kind of tighten this up and, reverse installation on this one. Get the glove box back in place. Obviously, we'll just make sure all the speeds are working and everything's moving smoothly, not making any noises or binding or anything like that. All right, and that's that. I mean, that was a very straightforward, easy fix on that CRV. Like I said, 2007 to 2011, that's kind of a common thing, but this can really apply to anything. Anytime that you have a vehicle where it's stuck on one vent setting, it is usually related back to that actuator, unless something broke off the actual box where those 2 arms come out of, or the actuator, plastic broke or something like that. That can apply to anything. One note, when you are ordering the part, this is for the air mode actuator. There is also one for the blend door actuator. That's the one that's going to be accessed from the driver's side up into the dash. So basically the opposite side of the air mode one. There's also a recirculation door actuator, and they look similar for the most part. Like that plastic piece is a little bit different, but they are generally different parts, so you got to order the right one depending on what you've got going on. If you have an issue where you can't select hot or cold, that's going to be blend door, and then recirculation door obviously is whether that's just it's either working or not working. But yeah, pretty straightforward on that one. So can apply that to a lot of vehicles, not just the CRVs, but that is a very common issue on the CRVs I've found. So if you're having that issue, hopefully this helped you out a little bit, pointed you in the right direction anyway. We'll keep churning out the videos as we can. Any questions or comments, send them my way. Like, subscribe if you're digging it, and fucking see you on the next one, I guess. I don't know.